Hurricane Ernesto is making headlines as it takes its course across the Atlantic, bringing significant weather impacts to both the Caribbean and parts of North America. This powerful storm is expected to influence conditions in Atlantic Canada and generate hazardous rip currents along the U.S. East Coast. Ernesto, which recently struck Bermuda with Category 1 hurricane intensity, is now moving northward. It made landfall on Bermuda with fierce winds and heavy rain, causing significant damage and power outages. As the storm continues its journey, it is set to brush against Newfoundland, Canada, early next week. Although Ernesto is projected to stay well offshore of the U.S. East Coast, its effects will still be felt there, particularly in the form of dangerous rip currents and neo swells. For those along the U.S. East Coast, from the Carolinas to the Northeast, Ernesto's large swells pose a serious risk. The storm's impact has already led to investigations into rip current-related deaths in South Carolina. Beachgoers are advised to exercise extreme caution as high waves and strong currents will persist through the weekend. As Ernesto moves towards Atlantic Canada, it will likely bring heavy rain and gusty winds to parts of Newfoundland, including the Avalon Peninsula. The storm's outer bands may also affect the Maritimes, including Nova Scotia, southern New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island, with potential for heavy rainfall and coastal flooding. However, the most intense winds are expected to remain offshore. The storm's path and intensity are influenced by a trough in the jet stream, which is guiding Ernesto's trajectory. This interaction will determine the extent of the storm's impacts across the region. Meteorologists are closely monitoring the situation to provide the latest updates and detailed forecasts. Ernesto's rapid intensification in the warm waters near Bermuda has been noteworthy, but the cooler waters near the Canadian coast are expected to weaken the storm somewhat as it approaches. Despite this, the large waves and hazardous conditions generated by Ernesto will be challenging for both coastal and offshore sectors. In summary, while Ernesto will remain predominantly offshore of the U.S. East Coast, its swells and rip currents will pose significant risks to beachgoers. Atlantic Canada, particularly Newfoundland, will face more direct impacts from the storm, with potential heavy rains and strong winds affecting the region. As always, staying informed through reliable weather updates and exercising caution in affected areas is essential for safety during such powerful weather events. Stay subscribed for more videos.